talking about minority groups and the importance of shedding light on how much lack of research there is in these areas, and how there is a fine line on like overstepping into like a cultural environment. So along those lines, what do you think are the next steps for countries that like have like low to middle income, are considered low to middle income? What do you think are the next steps on incorporating those countries? Because for instance, when you were mentioning about Latin America and how we Latinos are not a homogeneous group, as some people often think, it's very different central, south, north. What do you think are the next steps on incorporating the countries that are not talked about in general in this kind of research?
No, I think you just see like a key point, right? It's around diversity, but then within diversity, there is also diversity.
Yeah.
It's getting complex, right? But totally agree with you. I mean, Latinos and all the countries worldwide are not monolithic, right? And we need to be aware of that difference across population when trying to talk with people, when getting their thoughts on what they need in terms of research. I think that in order to bridge that gap, we need first researchers that are willing to understand that, right? But we also need to kind of have more diverse researchers, right? It's not only about creating diversity in the research we do, but we also need to have people that lead the research be diverse. So those diverse community will self-identify, will create that sense of trust, and will join our research. I think the diversity in research goes both ways, right? It goes top to down and down to top, right? In an equilibrium. It's not just that, the community needs to be diverse. No, the community but the research need to be diverse too. So we could bring those thoughts, right? Things that are different. So I could share that, no, this won't work in Hispanic community. This won't work in Latino. So this will work in Caribbeans, but not in Mexican American.
I like that you mentioned the fact that we need to diversify also our researchers, because I think growing up, I didn't realize what a scientist would look like. I didn't always expect for someone like me to become a scientist or my surroundings, because it's not well talked about. And I really, really enjoy the fact that you mentioned that. So along those lines, what would be your advice to emerging global leaders, like the McDonnell Scholars, for instance, or anyone around the world who's watching this? What is your advice to kind of get kickstarted on building like a diverse research environment?
Well, we need two things. One, support from our institutions, right? But as individuals, what I believe that we need a dream, right? And a dream that will come true, right? And make sure that those dreams, like the one you had, like becoming a researcher, that's possible, right? That's feasible, right? So it's a dream one way or shy, but it will become true. And the institutions need to be aware of that and provide the resources needed, right? Provide support for diverse community, provide access for training, right? The work that the McDonnell Academy do, bringing people to be trained at WashU and then get back and create capacity building, that's unique. That's what we need, because we are training the next generation of leaders in different countries, right? So that's key, I think, to have a more diverse pipeline in terms of the researches we have and the research we do.
Yeah, no, I think that's really valid. That's really great. Along those lines, my mom always used to tell me that what you have for sure always in life is a no. You're going for the yes. And I think it aligns well with what you're saying of having a dream, having a tangible, idea, tangible output sometimes. It's very valuable in this context. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the symposium today?
Oh, definitely I'm looking to the next presentation, but something that I really want to do is just talk more with people in other disciplines, right? Those researchers in other disciplines. Try to get their experience and see how I apply that to the research I'm doing, and the same, right? So we will start kind of turning down those artificial environment or those silos that we create, right? And just create more collaboration. So that's what I'm really looking for today, expand on that collaboration.
Yeah, and expanding collaborations. For instance, you are a pioneer, I think, on bringing genetic counseling into Latin America because it's not well talked about. What is your advice to people who are establishing new fields of study? What would you tell them to do or like aspire to?
Yeah, and for me, before getting anything, just go and meet the community you are trying to outreach. Right? Go to the community, talk with them, and have an understanding of what they need. That would be first. Then talk with the local researchers, what they think is feasible for their community and what they believe is beneficial. And after that, you will have that kind of foundational work on how you need to implement this. For me, that was what created the base on all the things what I'm doing. Understanding of the community, understanding of the researchers' need, and creating things from there. And based on that, you can create a program that will be really, really comprehensive. That will be culturally appropriated, right? But at the same time, will support people living in those communities.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, adapting and kind of knowing when not to overstep and be mindful of our environment. This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
I think it really shed light on, we were talking about why us as scientists need to learn about politics, why politicians need to learn about science, and it kind of, in general, why everyone needs to know a little bit about everyone else's work. And I think it's very valuable to have different perspectives in general, whether it's areas, countries, all over the world. And this was great. I really enjoyed talking to you. It's nice to see a fellow Latino in this field specifically, and it was my pleasure to interview you today.
Yeah, no, thanks for the interview. It's been great to share this time.